The
Traveling.
traveling. Boom. Astoria.
Astoria.
Salvador to all Astorians, Humi, and internationals alike tuning in for another episode of Blueberry.
And
Thank
Pinkho. Welcome
you.
back, everyone.
Uh, thank you very much. It is your host, Akritious Invictus. Uh, and
I'm Akihiro Tsumikami.
Today it's going to be a slightly different episode. We will not be having a new segment. We actually have removed a couple of segments in favor of just hosting a longer interview. Here today with us, we do have a pretty special guest. Look at you, want to do the honors?
Yeah, why do I hear some boss music? Okay, well, we have the Jesus Christ of Stoneworks, one of the most notorious members of all time. Please introduce yourself.
Yo, Jesus Christ is quite flattering. Thank you. I hear a different comparison drawn regularly, but I'll take Jesus Christ. I prefer that.
Not another German.
Fuck. Anyways, yo, I'm Lason. That's my IRL name, and I'm also known by the in-game name Lason and on Discord Lason. I've been on Stoneworks since the end of Wrathnir. Literally, when the end was announced, that is when I first joined, and throughout all of Abexilis to the present day, though I've taken a step back, I suppose. And yeah, I've done pretty much everything there is on Stoneworks, starting with being a random to being elevated to government for a nation in Apex, which is Akihiro, then going to staff, rising all the way to admin, actually controlling staff on my own due to the absence of owners and senior admins, then coming back and doing a world conquest, or well, becoming the biggest nation on the Sorley, then coalitioning the opponents, collapsing, and then doing all of that rinse and repeat again, now 4 times. So yeah.
This would be the biggest intro
Yeah.
I've
On a
ever
personal
had.
side, I'm a bit of an old guy as well, and my job that I do IRL is also notorious in Somax. It's why people, especially staff, hate dealing with me because I'm a lawyer. So the rules I love. Yeah, that's it.
All right. So that was a great intro. Thank you for that. I'm gonna go ahead with this first question because I wrote it, so might as well ask it. So could you, since this is more of an Apex related interview, could you tell us about the beginning of server, which for you was basically the beginnings of Akihiro? And also, what do you have to say about slavery?
Oh, the slavery one is yeah, that's great. I believe, Luca, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that like a relic from our ticket bot on the Akshira server back in the day? Where we said like we
Yeah,
don't
and
sell land or
we
people or
don't sell
something like
land.
that.
And your little workers and your what was the claim called again? I forgot.
Yeah. Something along those lines.
Your miners.
Sunny Roshi.
Yes, Sunny Roshi.
I see.
True. Anyways, yeah, so the server started and I had just gotten ultimate rank,
Mm-hmm.
which gave me, I believe, 2 hours early access. And before having logged onto the server, we had pre-made the idea of Akihiro. With we, I mean Glaski, Shotty, Helena, Drink, me in some regard, and a few others who I honestly can't recall off the top of my head. Obviously,
Lukti.
Lukti. Oh yeah, Lukti. Okay, so that was the point. So that way, I met Lukti. And due to me being able to log on earlier, and Lukti at that time having been one of the only developers who was active on the server, we pretty much instantly joined the server, and he knew what land we wanted to claim. And the server was terribly unstable. It kicked people multiple times, like genuinely very many times. But Luke and I were pretty lucky, so we spawned somewhere in a jungle area, then went onto a boat and immediately gunned for the Sakura biome in Harlan, where the huge
Yeah,
mountain chain is as well. So we
Shingeki
went there
Mountain Range.
immediately, and yeah, like we were streaming it as well, and we're asking the boys like, "Yo, do you like this or no?" And the overwhelming majority of people liked it because before we were half considering doing a jungle biome, but we
Yeah,
just deemed it too annoying to get rid of all the bamboo and stuff like that. So we just said, you know what, let's let's go for this place, and then we went, and yeah, everyone else followed. So you could say not like in a lore perspective, but in the in-game play, it was Luke and I who actually found the land that used to be
yeah.
that later on became Akishiro.
Do you remember
Um,
we when we had this going on? We had like the event chat. We had a whole stage, and there's like 40 people. That was
oh
great.
yeah,
We're like
yeah,
watching the
yeah,
stream.
exactly. So post this is what I was going to get to in a bit. So post this discovery of land, we immediately got all the people in, and due to it being like some Japanese lab, which some people really love, others not so much. But those who love it really love it, like Luca here, for example.
Mhm.
We
And enjoy
naturally
it.
attracted a lot of people at the start of the game. So our Discord calls were so ridiculously active that at some point, correct me if I'm wrong, Luca, I believe we almost had a full month of everyday VC nonstop. Like you could join
Yeah,
any hour of the day for almost an entire month. I believe it was like 3 weeks and a few days.
yeah.
And every single day, at every hour of the day,
It was the
nonstop, at
most.
least, yeah,
It was the
it
most
was
active I've ever
ridiculous.
seen.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
Like,
was very ridiculous. And that was probably because we were so communal, I suppose, in terms of how we
Mhm.
did stuff. Because when we found the land, we immediately started and constructed the old town, or well, the
Old
first
Town.
base, I suppose.
Mhm.
What now we call it the old town. Back then, we just
Yeah.
called it the like survival base, I suppose. Because funnily enough, the lands plugin did not work. It didn't work at all. So what we had to do was fix the borders with signs and just blocks and say like, "Yo, this is the Akashira Shogunate. Do not trespass," which back then staff deemed legal land claiming due to the absence of the plugin. So we did that and built the old town due to fear of griefing and co-inspect not working. We didn't want to immediately go balls to the wall, so to say. So we first built a small survival base, I suppose. And to this day, that is the first and only home I've permanently lived in. After that, I
Oh.
was like floating around places, but to this day, me and Glasky actually shared a
Yeah,
home. In,
you shared a little
yeah,
shack. Everyone had their little
yeah,
tiny shacks compared to what the builds are there today. And I
oh yeah,
remember we had signs all around the borders. If you still go, you'll still find some.
yeah, yeah. Those signs still exist, and I
Yeah.
remember having a dispute with one of our neighboring nations post my rise as Scaligan oligarch, I suppose, where they were destroying one of their signs, and I got so pressed over them trying to touch what Timid back then placed down that I told them like, "Hey, those are history. I really, really recommend you don't touch them again, please." And
Mhm.
they haven't been touched since. So thank God for that.
When Lason
Uh,
really recommends something, you know it's
yeah,
over for you.
It's like
bro, they
comes
didn't touch them anymore. So thank God.
comes into your server, I would strongly recommend. And I mean strongly for your own good. uh,
Yeah, pretty much. But I would say that is most a pretty good summary of the beginning. But to say a bit more on Akashira, because otherwise we would miss it out due to the context of time. After that, Akashira genuinely transitioned into the most active nation, and Tenyoku, our capital, was by far, like genuinely, at least 10 times more players than the second most active claim online at the same time, because the
Mm.
state was, even though we had like our little domains and I had my own domain, but I made it non-public only for my specific people because I deemed them too idiotic to interact with the rest. So Tenyoku was the genuine main base of operations, and everyone played there, and we managed to pump out a city that to this day is very beautiful.
It
And
won
became the most
awards.
active claim. Yeah, not yeah. I was gonna say it didn't only win award, but at the time, the senior admins and admins made a competition, and Tenyoku won the overall most beautiful city on Stoneworks at that moment. So Akihiro, during its heyday, was the most active and most beautiful nation in the game. So
Mhm.
yeah, that I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah,
Sounds like
it
a
was the place to
beautiful.
be.
Sounds like a beautiful recollection.
So obviously, we know about the start of Akishiro, start of the nation itself, with the players, the claims. What would you say was the peak of Akishiro? What was the community like?
Um, I would say the peak of Akishiro was when we were in the process of building Tenyoku.
Mm-hmm.
Not at the very start, but like I would say middle towards the end of the first set of construction for the city.
Mm-hmm.
And peak about that was that I tried to I prided myself almost on reading all the Discord messages that were sent in the Akashira Discord, and Luke did the same. But it was so much that genuinely it took hours out of your day because people would just yap nonstop, thousands upon thousands of messages within a few hours, and everyone was so incredibly friendly. And I don't, I didn't see any sort of greed that exists nowadays. Like when you ask someone, they gave everything. It didn't matter. There was no like, oh well, but this is my personal money and this is like for the nation or whatever. But every single person was like, okay, nation first, basically,
Yeah,
which I believe was a result of like strong patriotism that was instilled by the lore from day one, and
Mm-hmm.
also acted out in game by everyone contributing as much as they could. So I would say
yeah,
that is the best thing on a meta sense that we had going back in the day, and also just pretty cool to play with people who want everyone else to succeed. That's just fun.
yeah. And it would lead to us like we just got art for free and stuff like that. People like websites,
Yeah.
um, just a whole bunch of shit. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, the start of Apex hype really was a thing to be reckoned with, for sure. Um, and I'm happy to hear you guys pretty much got the bigger end of it, from the sounds of it. What was the next question is what was the transition like from Akashiro to Soralai, essentially?
um, I see it in two aspects nowadays. First of all, was necessity due to fatigue by the main shot callers. So most of the people who were actively playing their game, and with that I mean logging on, grinding the build, grinding the mats, and all of that stuff, grinding the money. All of those people had grown tired in some to some extent of the Japanese theme of Akashiro,
Mm-hmm.
combined with the semi-retirement of a lot of important people, I would say. Shotty, for example, the second, I believe, or third in command. Third,
Second,
actually.
second.
The no, no,
It was
third.
Regent,
He
the
was
Ogo show.
Ogasho, but no,
Yeah,
Shiken was the second in command, I believe.
yeah. It was like the fake prime minister, I guess.
Yeah, some. Anyways, the point is, Oshoti, he was the former shogun. That was the Ogasho role. Um, Hirosol, who was the regent, Shiken, and Glasky was the shogun. All three of them turned inactive, like fully inactive. They never logged onto the game at all, and all they would do is participate sometimes in Discord arguments, and the active player base just got tired of it, I suppose.
That is so
Yeah,
So
real. I feel that
yeah,
actually.
so
I feel that.
talking to people about a nation that they haven't stepped foot in for months
Hmm.
drove those other people that were actively playing the game kind of mad, and
Hmm.
their dislike for those positions held by those players slowly started to um, corrupt their view on the nation that they have played in so far. Due to
It's
all of those arguments, I believe most of the active player base associated Akihiro with people who don't log on anymore.
mhm,
Therefore, they started to reject the entire idea,
mhm.
which is what I call, in hindsight, the good part about leaving Akihiro behind, because it genuinely started to develop into a let's not log on to the game but just LARP on Discord type of nation, which I didn't particularly enjoy. But the
Yeah.
sad part about it was that Sorelay was also a necessity due to stagnation in general. It's not just the government people, but ABEX was so stagnant in general and nothing was happening, genuinely nothing. At that point, I didn't believe wars worked at all. Like, they just didn't. So the geopol was completely pointless. You could say whatever you want, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. For a
Um,
bit of context of the time frame, this was what, like end of 2024?
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, exactly. So
It it is a fate that a
there was
lot of nations meet today. By the way, it really is. Uh, I don't know. It feels close to home because a lot of nations just end up like that. The leadership just sticks to Discord. Everyone just larps there.
yeah,
Nobody logs in the game.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is pretty bad. And
Hmm.
when everyone started to sort of stop playing, we thought, okay, now we have an opportunity to get rid of the old inactive leadership basically in a friendly way by telling them like, hey, we're doing something else now, you guys don't play anyway, so fuck off.
This was including me,
And
by the way.
yeah, it was. No, why would I lie? It was.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he was the most egregious part because he had a quote unquote minor role in terms of activity to play, because he was a culture minister who by position is already uh not expected to put in hours grinding, I suppose, in comparison
Yeah.
to
And most of
nation
my
leader, right?
Diplo stuff like was with Soijiro, and we had just resolved that crisis.
Oh yeah, we killed them basically. Well, they killed themselves, and
Yeah.
we just helped them along, I suppose.
I will say, in
Um,
terms of like culture ministries, they're generally not expected to put too much work because they're not necessarily mechanically like necessary. However, a good person in that position can do a lot because all of the propaganda, all of the fucking memes, the LARP, all of that really just keeps people going a lot of the time. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
yeah.
So pretty much we had to transition. There was no other way, because we thought, okay, if we now become Sorley and have this like divine empire type of idea to conquer a lot of land and all of that stuff, that requires active gameplay, which would in turn help to revive the nation, which it did, but that also turned out the same, I would say, as Akashiro, which is something that is towards, which is more fitting for the fourth question, I believe. So we'll do
Would
Yeah.
that.
I
you
think.
say it's before we move on to that? Would you
Yeah.
say it's more of an inevitability with Minecraft nations that eventually people will tire out and that might happen?
Um, I wouldn't necessarily say so, because Minecraft is a game that doesn't really know age.
Hmm.
I've played Minecraft since the day it was first released, and I still play it, and a lot of people I know IRL also still play it. A lot of them actually came and grinded with me on Stoneworks. I would say more so it's a law in Stoneworks that happens, because unfortunately, after all my experience, I believe the server doesn't cater to player retention, but
Hmm.
more so
Yeah.
to get players in and have them play during their Minecraft phase for like a month or so. And then,
Hmm.
due to lack of gameplay, they're sort of forced to leave, because unless you really grind, it's basically impossible to do anything of note on Sunworks without all the connections, all the wealth and
Yeah.
stuff. There's just such a huge gap, which is why I think the gameplay loop exhausts itself quite quickly. Therefore, it's inevitable. But it's a Stoneworks made problem, because other than warfare and Nether, and like building, if you enjoy that, big if, by the way, not everyone does. There
Hmm.
is no actual gameplay loop. Like, you can't log
Hmm.
on and be like, oh, today I'm gonna make progress on this or that, because in reality, whatever you do, if you go fishing, you're wasting your time, because you make in 5 hours, if you're lucky, what a person can make in the Nether in 4 minutes max by just killing one guy or getting one good drop, which is
Yeah.
why the servers like punishes you to play. Therefore, nations die.
Damn, Luca, you don't tell
Yeah.
me this guy was this base, bro. We agree on everything. It's kind of crazy. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I guess before we get into the end of Sorelai, which we've sort of alluded to, tell us about your antics as the god of Sorelai and your achievements as well in the Fumi
Yeah.
Shogunate.
Yeah, so I started off as what we called back into the Divine Counselor, which was the high god role, I suppose. And we had two emperors. Well, one emperor and one empress, Glaski from Akihiro, the shogun transformed emperor, and Lyra, who became empress of Athos, which was one of our allied nations from Ares, the continent on the northwest. And after Baby Ace got banned and blacklisted, basically, he via ticket gave me all of his shit, all of his land, and I then picked Lyra to be the empress of that nation, and then I forced them to merge because it was just so much land. Where I was like, okay, this is a golden opportunity to perhaps actually do what I originally wanted when I was watching a YouTube video from Stoneworks, like everyone does. Like, oh fuck, I want to
Yeah.
become the big emperor and conqueror and stuff like that. That was the first moment where my nose was like, oh, I smell a chance here to actually do what I signed up for in the first place. And it's a very long and turbulent story, but basically we rose to become the biggest nation on Abex by a good margin at the end, even absorbing Ishinor because they were diplomatically isolated and came to me for protection, and I offered it only if they would merge into us, basically, which created the divine realms of Sorelei Ishinor.
I
With
wonder
me at
why
that
they were
moment still, yeah.
RP.
Exactly. Yeah. With me as like a divine counselor, but since day one, I practically dictated the way the nation worked. The emperor and the empress were mostly rubber stampers, but also did like their own tasks. And then at
Yeah.
some point, I was more hands-on, I suppose, because when we were starting to war people and get war and stuff like that, people would not respect the authority of those they deemed puppets, which they weren't, by the way. The emperor and the empress genuinely did a lot, and without them, we wouldn't have ever been successful at all. Well, the empress more so. The emperor was low-key FK, but that's besides the point.
It do be like that.
Yeah, so I had to take the throne myself, basically. Well, no, first I declared myself regent, which is basically the same, but just less grand, I suppose, in terms of title. During which time the Garten troubles started. Pengu, who was the governor general of the colony that we
Shout out Pengu, who's an active citizen of the Fumi Shogunate now. So.
Oh yeah, see what's up, Pengu. I'm sure, hopefully, he watches this. He picked a fight with Lyra, basically, and just in general, I suppose, was bored. And he just, no offense, is not very smart about the game. Like he didn't know anything at all, how what works, like completely clueless because he genuinely never played the game. He was a Discord LARPer. So he decided to rebel with his claims and make some other claims rebel and join Michava, which was a Talasi nation. They're trash randoms, by the way. No, not even worth mentioning, but I will for the sake of Pengu here. Most of those coups we got reversed because we had an active war ticket on them, or they on us. I forgot one of the two, which was why those were illegal, which led to a lot of them being banned due to claim coups being illegal during war tickets back then. Now they're illegal, full stop. And yeah, Pengu found himself alone with his. Well, he was in Michava with his claim, and at that moment, even though the wiki says differently, I talked with Luke about this. It's actually wrong. The wiki doesn't represent the actual lab that happened.
No.
As Imperial Regent back in the day, I declared martial law, I suppose, in Hojanaland because at that point I wasn't really into the law or anything, but I wanted to give the Lapis of that nation something to do, I suppose, or something to talk about. So I took control of the colony fully and like suspended their government. to then declare war on Pengu, which we did, and we absolutely ruffled, like completely annihilated them. And then proceeded to destroy the entire claim, all the houses and everything, to make sure, like, hey, we won't tolerate low IQ gameplay like this.
Yeah.
Shout out Pengu.
Which
I don't
shout
hold
out
any ill will to the guy. I don't hold any ill will at all, but
No.
I'm to this day flabbergasted how his ego got the best of him when he didn't even play the game at all. Like what
Yeah.
mental and logical loops and hoops he went
Yeah.
through is
It's because
indescribable.
Pengu, like others, are Akishiran loyalists, and this is what this leads to sort of the next question. I think people had an issue with Sorelai. People who actually really enjoyed the lore of Akishiro, the peak community at the time, they saw it get stripped away for something which would sort of end up in the same way. So, regarding this, how was the breakup of Sorelai and the beginning of Arseni?
The breakup was pretty nice because at that moment I owned on my own 27 land claims on all of my old accounts. Trying to keep the empire alive because I owned the most land on the server by the nation and also as an individual player. I think I personally owned like 23,000 chunks or so. So it was ridiculous.
Oh my god.
The amount of land.
Wow.
It should not be legal to do that, by the way. I'm glad they changed the rules. Like, that was so stupid that I was allowed to do that, and everyone knew as well. So it was just an idiotic rule, but whatever.
I will say,
I had all of... Yeah?
going back to when we said about player activity, it's stuff like that that also kills the player activity. Because like when one guy owns 23,000 chunks, like what does that leave for the new players that are coming and trying to get
Yeah, I'm not
nation?
so sure I agree. When I think back on it, the most active time in Akashiro was when nobody owned a claim except for Glaski and me, and like the people who played the game did not own claims, because what I believe the actual real gameplay loop should be is when you have a city that you live in and you're forced to live in because you don't have your own claim. Because I would make the comparison to an MMORPG, World of Warcraft. I don't know if you've ever played it, but at some point you could start to queue for dungeons from anywhere. You wouldn't have a physical need to go there anymore, or all the raids, which led to people sitting in their own rooms or in the most favorite AFK spots, just queuing and queuing and queuing. In Stoneworks, when you own a claim, you have all your items there. All your items are required for you to play the game. Therefore, you won't ever stay in the city that your nation should be centered around, which is why I don't think owning claims is good. I would prefer actually if there was much fewer claims, like much fewer, and people would have to go into cities and actually be a part of a living, breathing city. Because when you log on and you're in your own claim and no one else comes to your claim, it's boring. But when I remember Tenyoku, I logged on. I didn't own the claim. I was walking around, and every day I saw 20 people minimum.
Yeah.
It felt so alive. That is where
I see the difference,
really
because
felt like...
I'm saying this from like a post-late ABEX perspective, where you see a lot of these big claims and they're just dead, right? So these claims exist. They grab all this space and they're dead, and they don't let anyone else go grab the space, so that perhaps they could revive it or like make their own efforts. So
yeah, I agree with you in the sense of dead land claims and land hoarding by people like me back in the day. That is an issue. But I would say the solution to give everyone their own claim is wrong. It's actually the worst thing you can do.
I
would say
don't disagree with that. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Would you say that
it was great because the point, like Sorley disbanding, I was so happy because at that moment I gave away all the land. And I didn't have to log on at all anymore, because at that point it became a chore. I had to keep all of those land claims active. The popping plugin came back on and all of that shit. So I was very happy to finally put it to rest. And by that point, we've made quite a few enemies. So every day I would wake up to 200 Discord messages. Oh, this guy's doing this guy's doing this. Oh my god, rebellion here, rebellion there. One of our claims popped. One of the fucking 100 claims that we earned was popping. Like, it was impossible to keep the machine going, especially because late stage ABEX disease was starting to appear, where nobody really logged on anymore. Only like the same people. A new player acquisition, I suppose, was becoming borderline impossible. So I was very happy when I was like, "Yep, fuck this." Then I disbanded the empire, gave away all the land, and unfortunately, most of the successor nations died, but not all of them. Some are still around.
Yeah. Yeah. So Arsenior, how's that? How was
Beginning
that?
was pretty good because I had nothing to do with it. It was all the others. I just came back basically from establishing the biggest empire on the world. So I was like, okay, you guys do what you want. I just read along, I suppose. And Resnia was when the nation or the land that that nation occupies, it took a definite final death blow, I suppose, because the nation chose to turtle and not interact with the outside really and become a builder hub, which it is to this day. And no one is able to disagree. They do make the best builds ever.
Mm-hmm.
Check the land claim below Garten on the very northern tip of Rosakura, the new palace that we pasted in.
Yeah.
But the nation does not play. You won't
Yeah.
ever find a single person logged on into any of the claims because the gameplay is log on the build server, designing creative, and the other people who play in other nations like Scaliga
Yeah. Again,
help to pay for the builds.
we circle back to like this huge unwarrable claims that are not really
Mm,
that active, just not letting anyone else have it.
Mm.
Yeah, just
yeah.
And also
it's kind
part
of
of the
like that.
reason is no one from Akihiro, High Gov, the big players, the active players that everyone knew, no one really plays anymore.
Hmm.
Nope. I would say the only person from the real start of is like you, I suppose, Luca, and me, if you
Yeah.
would count me as still playing, which I don't agree with fully. But other than that, you're right. They all disappeared, vanished.
Yeah.
It's also this
And
issue with. Oh yeah, please go
yeah,
ahead.
I was gonna say like even me, I quit for like over a year. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I skipped everything from the end of Akishiro to the start of the Humi Shogunate.
it's also this issue about, I don't know if it's the community or the mechanics that encourage this or it just happens, where a lot of things in the server, nations, companies, entities, they're just a one-man project in a form, in that
Hmm.
it's one guy on top and that guy is pushing really hard. It's one or like two or three, like very few guys on top that are just pushing really hard for something to happen, something to evolve. And once those guys just lose the spirit or they kind of go out of the picture, the thing just kind of dies. Even though it might have a lot of people behind it and a lot of support and a lot of momentum, a lot of the times it just dies because those guys are not there to kind of push for it anymore. So things can
Yeah.
be really,
Oh
really
yeah. Yeah.
fragile like that.
Well, we in real history call like imperial cult. I believe is very much a thing in Stoneworks. Most Stoneworks nations, borderline all of them, are a 1 to 2 man show and heavily rely on the
Cult of
charisma of
personality.
that
Yeah,
person.
cult of
Yeah,
personality.
they need to sit in VCs and then the VC will be full. If they aren't in the
Exactly.
VC, no one logs. It's like
Exactly.
very difficult.
Exactly. So, let me backtrack. Okay, so when you got involved in Scaliga, and please point in time, when was that? What was your vision, and how does it compare to what it is today?
Um, when I became involved in Scaliga when the first drought of in-game activity of Akashiro started to happen. So
Hmm.
at the end of what I would call Akashiro's golden age,
Hmm.
I wanted to play the game and I was like searching for what else to do. When I
Hmm.
met Scaliga, due to mutuals like Helena and Luca here and Drink and other people already played with the Scaligans on Rathnir before.
Hmm.
So I just randomly came into contact with them, just in a random citizen chat. And we, like Fury, Big D, and I, Fury and Big D were the leaders at that point.
Shout out.
Yeah, we
Shut
had,
up.
shout out, exactly. We had our nationality in common. We were all three Germans. So it just immediately, that was like, I was so glad to finally speak my own language instead of English because I don't like speaking in English. I think I'm okay at it, but I prefer to speak my mother tongue, right? So
Yeah.
that's how we bonded, and then I could scratch that itch, I suppose, of wanting to
Mhm.
do something in the game, which is why I joined Scaliga as well. And then I like drove 2 lanes basically. Scaliga on one side, Akihiro on the other side. And for vision, at that point I was about to be or already an admin on Stoneworks. So I couldn't really do Geopol anymore. I still did, by the way, and everyone knows. I was not allowed to at first, but I didn't give a fuck because I ran staff on my own due to the absence of everyone else. So I just did what I wanted. And it limited my gameplay though, because obviously I can't like really log on my account. I can go in creative mode. I can instant kill people and all that stuff that didn't work. So I more so became a logistics person,
Mhm.
which meant that I was only semi-involved in the decisions that they took. So my vision mostly was like, oh, I want to support this machine that became a Scaliga, which was like a very warlike machine, completely different from Akihiro, which was more about lore and peace and stuff.
Yeah.
Scaliga was no lore and just let's war everyone alive, just declare 100 wars.
Mhm.
So that was pretty fun. And compared to what it is today I lead it. Like, well, I recently retired, but technically I still lead it, and I could if I wanted to. Um, it really didn't change. It's still very much a let's war everyone. We have some lore now, but we became much more professional. Like back in the day, Scaliga was only egoing people every now and then,
Mhm.
like every time because they played Loka. They transitioned from Stoneworks to Loka, which made the vast majority of them become very competent at PvP.
Yeah.
So when they came back to Stoneworks, they just were fighting from their perspective trash cans. So it was like just ego everyone, which led to us losing later because we just were so outnumbered we couldn't do anything anymore.
Mhm.
I would say Scaliga still retains that ego, but we're much more strategic about it now, and we have made genuine like allies
And much
to
larger.
the point. Oh yeah, we're much larger exactly, and we have like very good allies, and we strategically place people around the world. Um, most people will know this, and I can't disclose this in public, but a lot of the very big Apex nations, at least, are partly ruled by Scaligans who are in their high govs. Some of
Should
them are even
we cut
emperors
this
of
out?
other regions.
Should we cut this out in
No,
the
no,
editing?
no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
You,
No, no, it's fine.
We can even.
people know. I just won't. I just
Yeah.
won't. I
Okay.
just won't tell which nations exactly.
I see,
Yeah.
I see, I see.
So yeah, same shit, more strategic, and I would say more effective. We became the biggest nation twice with Scaliga like this, so we're pretty happy with ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Well, you touched on it a bit, but why did you join the moderation? And did you want to become an admin from the very start, or did it sort of just happen?
So remember when I said like, oh, I was looking for things to do because the in-game activity of
Yeah.
Akihiro started to die down. That is why I like joined staff, because I couldn't imagine myself being anywhere other than Akihiro because I identified so much with it and I loved all the people who played, but I was missing in-game action, and I thought as staff I will see a variety of things when I log onto the game. I'll do a ticket here, do a theft there, repair build here, repair grief, ban someone, investigate a nation, whatever. I thought that could scratch my gameplay itch. It didn't, but I thought it could, which is why
Yeah.
I joined. And then I just became really good at it, I suppose. I started to study the rulebook, and I wrote a lot of it. The modern rulebook, a lot of it is written by me or
Oh,
co-written.
interesting. Yeah.
So I started to get really into that, and that is where I suppose my IRL job comes into play. So
Mhm.
I was just like, oh, okay, I love doing this, so I'm gonna just continue. And yeah, then I just rose the ranks because, no offense to all my co-staffers at that point, but a 16-year-old in a moderation position will not be able to compete, I suppose, with an actual lawyer who's like an adult and has his hormones in check, you know?
Who's an unk?
So
Fair.
yeah, exactly. So I could just
Mhm.
overperform everyone there, because obviously when you're 16 you're not expected to perform to certain levels. which led to me becoming admin, and that is when I was like, oh fuck, I can do whatever I want now, and I could.
Yeah.
And I would say I impacted the server greatly with a lot of the rule changes and some other things.
You are currently in development. Do you engage with that actively? Do you do development for the server?
um, no, I'm in that Discord still, but I don't do any development at all. I used to design what would be would be put on the stores. For example, the famous double brews, where you drink a brew and it gives you, for example, strength and speed compared to just strength or speed on Rathnir.
Mm-hmm.
I made those.
I see.
When you think of a few of the items that were released in crates, I was involved in the release of those
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. But no, I don't do any development or anything stuff side at all, and I haven't for a hot minute. I'm just still in the Discord.
I see.
Nice. Well, back to Scaliga. Are you happy with it
Okay, hold
right
on, hold on.
now?
I need to
What?
resolve this. Is it Scaliga or is it Scaliga? Like, I gotta resolve this.
Scaliga.
It's
Scaliga.
Scaliga. Okay, so Luke is
Yeah.
wrong. Fuck you, Luke.
Well,
No, I say
Luke.
Scaliga.
No, he's not fully wrong because the original name is based off of a Italian family. Actually.
Yeah.
Which
Back
I
in
would
my day,
assume, yeah,
Back in my day.
yeah, which I
Back
would
in-
assume is pronounced like Luca does it. But since Scaliga was taken over by Germans, we just pronounce it in a German way.
yeah.
And you
Scaliga.
can't tell me how to pronounce my own name, so I'm just choosing to
But-
pick the wrong side.
Also, back in my day, when I first got involved in Scaliga, when I joined it in 2022, it was called Scaliga. That's how people
I
would
don't
say
doubt
it.
that.
Right,
Yeah.
enough about Luke's walk of shame out of inactivity. Let's back to Scaliga. Are you happy with how it is right now? And furthermore, what are your plans for the future for Scaliga?
I'm happy where it is right now, I would say, because I've sort of left it be. I don't really interact with it much anymore, only occasionally when I'm really needed for like advice or whatever. I'm pretty happy because it's like so fit and so notorious. If you just go into the Stoneworks Discord and type in Scaliga and search for it, or type in Lason, which is my name, and search for it,
For sure.
you'll see a lot of shit. It's so hilarious. So I think it being so notorious is like fun and feels like we achieved something, which I believe we did. And we to this day are, I would say, by far the most powerful group on the server. We could lose in potential team ups if like everyone teamed up against us, but in a term like any single group that goes against us in any sort of engagement, be that nether, defensive force, offensive force, we would absolutely out of like 100 out of 100 times smoke them. Like there's no competition at all, zero.
My goats.
Only I suppose Prime OCL was like genuine competition, but they don't play anymore. Half of them got banned, and we beat their ass quite a few times. So
This is like a soundbite, folks. If any of you want to make edits about Scaliga, just cut the bit where he says 100 out of 100 we would crush them, and then just put the beat drop and that.
yeah, we only have
Yeah.
PvP brains. Unfortunately, no media talented people.
Oh well, it's okay.
Plans for the future though, we are going to kill Rosau, the kingdom of Rosau, or whatever, however you
Ooh.
pronounce them. The
Yeah.
Rozov, I believe.
Rosal,
The
yeah.
Rosakora nation, which is the successor of Ashai from Rathnir and Eldam, and which was the main nation, or is the main nation of Aragotha, the Merc group. That was quite influential for a long time. They're trash nowadays, like complete, absolute trash, but they used to be good.
Yeah,
Actually,
I remember.
One of the Scaliga goons recently got admin perms in their Discord and deleted like 5 or so years of history. I don't condone the action, but it was pretty funny to hear about it. So yeah, they are going to die. We warded them before, and we crushed them. There is an ANAT from me where we laugh about kidnapping their queen because we 450'd them in their mainland on offense,
Jesus.
which made them give us all of Chimera or Chimeria, whatever it's called,
Yeah.
the northern Mesa Peninsula of Rosakora, We took all of that back then for peace, and then they planned to op us at the Serena War, which happened recently, where we were defending a 2,200 chunk claim with an average Y level of 250 in the mesa and snaked all around with holes inside of it. And we still defeated the opposition, which was basically the AWE and like remnants of ACL and all these
That's
other like
crazy.
genuine no-name trash nations, which are completely trashed. Like I'm serious, but they've failed to do that. So as revenge, I suppose we were like, okay, Rosau has not understood their place, I suppose. So this time we'll most definitely war
So
them until they quit the server. Like we're going to bomb their builds as well. Like every
that's
single,
definitely, yeah.
as far as the rules allow it, anyways. Those
So
builds are going to be harmed. All of their Larpers, all of these people who quote unquote did nothing. I'm sorry, but your leaders like took the piss this time, so you will at some point have to quit the game, or you defeat us and I look like an idiot. But hey, that's the game. I take
fair.
that risk. I doubt you will.
I suppose an in-between question I kind of ought to ask, since we are talking about so many wars, is
Yeah,
well, I ought to ask the top guy in the server in terms of war. What do you think of the war meta right now?
it's ass because why
Thank you.
is it that why is it that you guys, for example, let's say you have beef with Zeliorus, which I know you don't.
Mhm.
Zeliorus, shout out Vandal, my best friend. I met him IRL.
Shout
There's
out.
a picture of me and Vandal IRL drinking on the
Damn.
Samena.
Shout out. Shout out.
So let's say you guys want to war him or he wants to war you. Your entire success rate and the gameplay and all of that just depends on if I can be bothered dislog and ruin your experience. Because if I come and randomly say, hey guys, I'm going to op you now, there is nothing you can do. No, nada, zero. You will just automatically lose. And it
Yeah.
will become a $20 million affair and all of that shit. Which is like, why the fuck is that the case? Why can't I just insert myself in every situation and make every single engagement a huge world coalition war with like
Exactly.
100 people with 500 million worth of gear just come and molest like some smaller nation? That shouldn't be possible. It is right now, and I think it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I
would
think it's
agree.
horrible in terms of gameplay on its own. Like if you were to fight even wars in smaller groups, let's say a 30v30, your nation versus Alio's like full citizen brawl, I think it could be pretty fun. Like the way
Yeah.
it is right now, you can have fun, but the reality of the war, of the non-gameplay part of the war, all surrounding it, like who's going to op you and staff and tickets and shit like that, are
Yeah.
so abysmally disgusting that it kills any fun. It's no fun at all. War is only stress on Stoneworks, nothing else.
I will ask another gameplay related question, but just before that, I will say there is also the other end of that, where instead of just instant escalation, you have somebody that is simply so dead and inactive that with the CB situation currently, you can publicly announce
Oh,
them,
yeah.
you can raid them, you can encroach them, you can snake
Yep,
play them.
yep.
If they don't bite back, you will never be able to war them. So that's never
Yeah,
gonna happen.
it's disgusting. I think there should be a rule where if there is no notable player activity in a claim in the last like 2 weeks, which I think is a lot already, but in the last 2 weeks, one player is enough to have actual normal gameplay judged by staff. Let's say numbers of blocks placed, numbers of sets done, or whatever. Just anything, I suppose, would already be nice. But right now, what people do is log on, auto fish for 2 hours, log
2
off.
hours, yeah.
Next month, you see them again, and you can't do shit versus
Yeah,
it.
the requirement
If
is
you
just
would
abysmally
require,
low. Yeah.
and you could also like tie it to chunks. If it's like a 2,000 chunk empty claim, you would need like
100%.
let's say 5 people to do that, or the claim just is warrable at least, or pops, but probably is warrable. It shouldn't be true that you can own land in this game, refuse to interact with outsiders, and just have it sit there forever as like some sort of gilded bird cage. That doesn't make sense. It's supposed to be a geopolitical world where you
Yeah.
can actually interact with people. So
Okay. And I know I'm dragging this, but the gameplay related question was, well, just basically, if you want to make any general statement about the current, I don't know, situation with the Merc meta or the G kits or all of that, or how do you find it
I
personally,
think I
or
find
the
it
OP
not
weapons?
as bad as some people say. It's very easy to complain about it when you don't have those items. But
Mm-hmm.
I will say, if you compare, Wrathy and Eldom had quite a few Elytras,
Mm-hmm.
and like two or so notable Elytra deaths on Abex. Almost like 30 people died with the most valuable item in the game, worth 20 plus million.
Mm-hmm.
People do die with God Kids. It's just Stoneworks has, due to like no keep inventory, keep inventory off and all of that, Stoneworks has made people such pussies where losing a single item is like a huge oh my god, I'm gonna fucking cry
Mm-hmm.
type of escalation where you feel so entitled to items
Mm.
that you don't take risks anymore at all, which
But
is why I think God Kids are not that bad because more people could bring them if they cared to, but they don't.
but I suppose I'm more so
I will.
referring to the fact that the average player will never own a god kit or an OP item.
Yeah, that is a problem. I said you can find me, say it somewhere. I said before I would prefer if there was a spawn shop to just buy them because why gatekeep? Same with Elytra, by the way. In my opinion, these weapons and items are fun to use. They genuinely make for a unique experience
Mm-hmm.
compared to any other Minecraft server. So why gatekeep the only fun, unique Stoneworks itemization options
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
behind
true.
a paywall that nobody can pay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In terms of current affairs, what is going on in Scaliga right now? And more specifically, how did the recent wave of expansion and rapid vassalization come about?
Woke up
Um,
last week, the entire map was Scaliga.
Yeah, so our government system, which I tease you guys in the group chat on about, is an oligarchy, but not like, oh, everyone gets a vote and shit or whatever. But every oligarch basically has full power over the nation, like full power, without asking anyone. So people sometimes DM me and they're like, hey, why did you guys threaten us or why do you want to vassalize us? But I don't even know anything about that at all. So a lot of our oligarchs just started to go to people and say like, hi, become our vassals or else. And surprisingly, a lot of people were like, yeah, that sounds like a great bargain, which is why we grew again. There is really no thought behind it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the like mad machine, I suppose, when you have at least seven or so people act without consulting anyone at all. Shit like that just happens, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And one could say that I'm like the chief leader of them, but since I've retired, basically, I don't really interact much. I only come in certain circumstances, so I just
Yeah.
watched it happen myself, and I was like, "Yo, what the fuck? How did you guys do this?" And they were just like, "I don't know. We just started talking to people, and it just happened." As for current affairs, we're warring Rozov, obviously. We're going towards Saharia as well for opping. And after that, once their war shield pops, Emiris, their capital Emestria, which is pretty good looking but riddled with Planet Minecraft builds, so their value is going to be quite low. And they won't have a great time once their war shield pops. Let's just say
Mm.
that. October 22nd, guys. October 22nd.
Coming soon at a IMAX near
Coming
you.
They
soon.
already know, bro. They already know we told them this is going to happen. And let's see if they slave away and build me a nice city so that I can have that post war. We'll see.
We have something to blow up.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah. Does that answer the next question, Luca? Like, does
I
that
think so.
already?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I guess
Like,
so. We were gonna ask, is there anything you can tell us about the upcoming war about?
Yeah. I think I did.
yeah. I think you
There you
did.
go.
Okay. So, I think Luca should ask the last one. He's more relevant
Okay,
to it.
okay.
Yeah.
So we've had a great long interview, by far the longest episode, but my favorite.
56
So
minutes.
looking back at your long journey, who were your closest friends and comrades, and where are they now?
I would divide by stages because, for example, I would say Luca here was one of my greatest comrades and close friends for the time that we played together with one another, but his long absence and my continuous play made me quote unquote shift groups a couple of times. I never
Yeah.
beefed with any of them, but I just changed groups because of circumstance. I would
Understandable.
say in my first run, in the Akihiro run, honestly, at its peak, the entire Daijokan of Akihiro, I would say Helena,
Yeah.
Luke D, Chip here, Timid, Drink, Glasky, Hirosol, Shotty. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone. Those were, as far as I'm
No.
aware, all the
We
Daijokan.
we had a personal group chat as well. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I do. So I would say at the very start, those people were like my definitive main guys I played with, and I love them. I still like every single one of them. I don't have problems with any one of them, and I talk to most of them actually to this day on
Yeah.
a regular basis. After that, the people I played the most with: Fury, Big D, who I met IRL multiple times by now, Fenelch and Bogdan, who are both blacklisted now for duping and other horrible things. Um, I would say those people I played the longest with for sure, and probably you could call these my closest friends overall, just because I spend much more time with them than with anyone else. And there's also the new group, I suppose, which is composed of people like Freezy, Basil, Quinsu back in the day before he was banned, Lyra, Patty, Bogdan, Grand Lego Man. I forgot about that guy. I've
Yeah,
been
Lego.
great friends with him for a long time. CV, Freezy, I think I said already, Zathramid, Chiofa, one of my goats from a very long time as well. He's like same with Fury and the others. Subregion, actually. Oh yeah, about that in a second. Vandal, uh, Swag from Aaron I, Shrubbery. Yeah, those people I would say probably the most. And one more short intervention. My very, very longest group, I would say, and the people I actually played with the most would be Subregion and Fenelch, because I was their claim owner on Rathnir before we went on to Apex. So I've played with them since my first day, and to this day, well, Fenelch was banned, but Subregion to this day is in my nation.
You know,
So yeah, I would
it
say
has
this.
just dawned on me. It'd be also even funnier to add, who were your, I don't know, perhaps fondest enemies? Not necessarily because they were the most respected adversaries or they were like gave you a good fight, but also because they did stupid things. We can include a little bit of both, I suppose.
I would say OCL I've had the best rivalry with, because they are like most of them anyways at most times just wanted to have fun gameplay and wars and shit. So a few of OCL for sure. They were fun to fight. Adramis, which we worked with Fenelch and Bogdan and the others back in the day, was very fun because it was like a democracy and they had a huge crash out of us warring them. It was hilarious, like genuinely hilarious. So they were like so pressed about everything, and we just were trolling. Like they were called the United States of Adramis, and our nation was named the Celestial States of Adramis, and then Stone didn't allow us. Oh, not Celestial, sorry, Confederate States. That was it was called the Confederate States of Adramis, and then Stoney disallowed the use after having allowed it initially because Adramis was very upset about the name.
The southern
instead of-
LARP never ends.
Yeah, then out of Confederate States of Adramis, we renamed to Celestial States of Adramis to keep the shortened CSA for
Ramsey's
like
gonna love
Confederate
this.
States of America, obviously, right? So that was the troll, and they took it to heart, and they got so pressed, which I found hilarious. As for worst enemies, I genuinely have to say, people like I'm gonna actually call them out because it's just right. People like Hob Zero, Rage of Fire, Dreezy, Lethian Tears, I suppose, in a lesser extent, but especially those first, well, especially Hobbs and Dreezy, they are just the most pathetic crybabies. Like they can't play the game without making report after report and like crying about anything that doesn't go their way. It's like oh, something must be wrong here. They can't fathom being wrong. They're just not smart enough, unfortunately, to see it. Which led
Oh
to
no.
Hob Zero, who's blacklisted now, uh, being put on the blacklist because he tried to buy information on me that could lead to a ban from one of my citizens. Like he was offering them $75 IRL. And this is
Wow.
the moment where I realized, like, when you are willing to pay real money to strangers to ban your Minecraft opponent instead of fight them in a genuine war, you are just the lowest scum. Like, you're such a pathetic
Mhm.
human waste
Is that
that I just don't know what to do.
is that like the worst thing someone can, like for you personally, is that like the worst thing they can do in
Yeah.
terms of the game environment and like hurting the community?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
obviously anything that isn't like actual crimes like pedophilia
Yeah,
or
of
fucking,
course. Like
well,
as a
but in terms of,
personality
yeah,
within the, yeah,
yeah,
within the space.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I would say trying to ban people and paying IRL money for it is the lowest. It's
Mhm.
just so disgusting. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
yeah, that guy's complete loser, like full loser. Dreezy, not as bad, but similar. Like he can't ever take responsibility. He will always just cry about everything. He's just like, he's a grown ass man, by the way. He's like 20 or something, but he can't not be the victim. You know, he's like a 24/7 victim, and always like, oh, this is unfair, and this and this and this, which I just find is so weird compared to how we approach a game, where we know OCL can attest to this. Some of them, anyways. Some of them will lie, but a few of them will admit. When we ward them, like we knew about some rule breaks, some ban evaders they had on the side, you know, because I'm friends with them too. But we would never report it because we wanted to just win. I don't give a fuck about making a ticket and crying my ass off, like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this guy is banned. Please let me win the war by default now. Like, that's not what we do. And I think it's very much what Hobbs and Dreezy and the other cunts there do, which is why I think
Hmm.
they are the worst enemies to have because they're just so pathetic.
Hmm.
Mm. There you go.
There you have it. That's the end of the interview segment.
Yeah.
We made it. We're 1 hour and
Thank
three
you.
minutes in.
No, it's been
Fuck.
great. It's been great. We have a couple more short segments if you're willing to stick around. Oh yeah, because you'll also be announcing our poll. But apart from that, we really appreciate the interview. It was great to
100%.
look back on the years. Great to hear your perspective on
It's
certain
fun.
things. Yeah, for sure.
Actually, other question that just came to me: is there anyone in particular you would like to see on the podcast being interviewed like this?
The podcast I would like to see interviewed.
If no
I
one
would
comes to mind, that's
say
fine. Oh.
out of interest, I would like Athas to be interviewed. He's my neighbor, and we have
Mm.
been in the same alliance, in the same defensive alliance for a long time. And I
Mhm.
would just like to see the perspective of someone completely opposite to me because they do like pacifist, no wars at all. I
Mhm.
think it would be interesting for me to see how he approaches and plays the game, but what he finds fun compared to me when I'm like exactly the opposite. I only want to do wars and stuff like that, you know? So I
Yeah.
think he would be a fun guest.
I see.
Also, he's long ass Stoneworks player. I think he was the first admin or something on Stoneworks. He made Eldom in the
Yeah.
lore. He's been around for like 6 or so years. So just
Mhm.
an interesting character for the history of the game.
I see.
Nice. Maybe we can make that happen. We'll see.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We'll tell him we have your recommendation. Maybe that will pique his
Yeah.
interest. Uh,
Maybe.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Layson. I guess the next segment, I'm gonna very quickly brush over it because we just kind of covered it in last broadcast. Is our sponsor segment Hooter, but it is just Bond and Juan Del Cere beefing the whole time, apart from a comment from Pancake. But they're gonna duel it out today. So those wondering, they're gonna have a duel. I think in New Helos. Lots of threats, but that's about it for Hooter. I guess let's just go straight into the poll of the week.
Wait,
Okay.
I also decided that I'm gonna be doing shameless plugs. So, buy wood from Invictus Lumbers, lowest price in the server. Anything below 20 barrels, we can do same day. So if you need like 20 barrels of wood, like straight away, we're here for you. Any log types. Thank you very much. Go, take it away, Luca.
Okay. For the poll, last week we asked you, How many times have you gambled away your life savings this week? Once, twice,
In
3 times,
game.
4 times, 5 or more, or as many times as Bradley has. And the results are in. We had 22% because we had the whole gambling event last week. 22% of people said once. 11.1% said twice. 11.1% also said 5 or more. I don't know who that is.
Oh my god.
55.6% voted as many as Bradley have. A huge loss for the Astorian economy.
Bradley burnt like 300k, bro. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, thank you guys for revealing your poor financial decisions. But it's time for this poll of the week. Lason, take it away.
My question to those who know ball about the Stoneworks history, I suppose, which of the great Scaliga members is most likely to end up in jail IRL?
I suppose for those who don't know Bull, we can add like a small
I'll tell.
sentence right next to the names, just
Yeah,
as a
I'll tell
summary.
3 names that are up for
Okay.
debate. 1, Fenelch,
Mhm.
former Scaliga member, now Palmaband, obviously. 2, Bogdan, same for him. 3, Basil, who is an active player still.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'll send you guys short descriptions about them after the fact. But
Yeah.
who of them is most likely to end up in jail IRL? In my personal lawyer opinion, all 3 of them have a good chance. Let's just say that.
I want to add my own member. For those who know Extreme Bull, Pepsi or Bepsi. He's
yeah.
going on the list. My
That
God,
is-
my friend in real life. He's a good
That
boy
is
now.
what I wanna watch.
He's grown up and matured,
I
but
believe you,
I
bro.
still
I
think
believe you.
he's on Stoneworks. He's so notorious. It's amazing. So we'll put him Bepsi. But yeah,
Well,
there you have it.
thank you guys. Thank you guys for the invite.
Yeah.
I
Thank you for
enjoyed it
accepting.
thoroughly. How's Scaliga to win your wars? Just DM me or Patty or
Shameless
Chiofa.
plug. Type shit. Well, thank you for being in this 7th episode of Blueberry and Pinkho. We'll keep making more of those. Maybe sometime in the future we'll have you again. Who knows? In the long future after we burn through a lot of guests. Because I mean, there's a lot of people to do, right? If you don't have any last remarks, or if neither of you have last remarks, that'll be it. And we'll see ya, lads, next week. We hope this interview gains some traction. See ya, lads.
Impera Astoria.
Salve it.